speaker is Walter Mendenhall. Walter Mendenhall was born on January 22nd, 1986 on the south side of Chicago. As a young student, he became very active in school sport programs where he established himself as a leader amongst his peers. He played 3 years of varsity basketball and was a member of the football and track team. Although Walter was diagnosed with a learning disability at the age of 5, he was still able to graduate high school with a 3.2 GPA and a scholarship to the University of Illinois to play football. While at the University of Illinois, he was a member of the football team and twice earned academic All Big Ten honors. Walter graduated from the University of Illinois the summer of 2008 with a degree in sociology and African American studies, and then transitioned to the National Football League, where he played for the Philadelphia Eagles, Indianapolis Colts, Buffalo Bills, and Cincinnati Bengals. Walter is a successful entrepreneur, youth minister, mentor, and motivational speaker. Walter has completed his master's degree in secondary education with a concentration in social scientists from National Louis University, and he's here tonight to give a charge to our graduates as they pursue their high school careers. Let's welcome Walter Mendenhall.
Congratulations, Courtney, Language Arts Center, class of 2015. You made it. Give yourselves a hand. Being a high school history teacher in Chicago has taught me that I have approximately 30 seconds to pique your interest before you tune me out. So if you allow me just 15 minutes of your undivided attention, I want to share some things that will change your life forever. I know the administration wants me to give you the rah-rah, congrats, off to bigger and better things speech, but that's not going to happen today. I'm going to keep it real with you guys because you're at one of the most critical ages of your life. And the decisions you make right now will drastically affect your future. How many of you guys like sports by show of hands? How many of you are basketball fans? Raise your hands. One thing I always loved was being I was always a sports stats guy. So how many of you guys know how many points LeBron had last Tuesday game? Raise your hands.
About 30.
What about Stephen Curry? How many of you guys know how many points he averaged?
25.
Yeah.
Like 25.
How many championships by show of hands did Michael Jordan win? If you knew that, raise your hand.
6.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, here's a stat that you may not know. Only 50% of Chicago public school students graduate from high school. So statistically speaking, only for half of you, this is your last graduation. However, my hope is when I'm done speaking to you today, this will not be the end, but only the beginning. Some of y'all have about 3 or 4 graduations left in you. I want to share with you a story about the seriousness of making the right decisions. As I look back over my life, the most important decision I ever made was when I was 14 years old. It was the last few weeks of 8th grade, and you know how the last few weeks of 8th grade go. I was making sure I had my fresh white ones. You know, I was trying to kick it to the girl that I always wanted to talk to, but we were, just always trying to do that. I was trying to think about, Six Flags and the dance and all these things. But I remember my dean of students and my basketball coach had a very serious conversation with me. He told me, he was like, Walter, you have all the potential in the world, but your friends are going to be your downfall. And at that time, like as many 14-year-olds, they went through one ear and out the other. But not more than I would say a month or 2 months later, my friends, they end up joining gangs, the Black Stones to be exact. And as I look back over, that time in my life, I grew up in the community not too far from here. Even though I was born on the south side, I grew up on the north side, just a couple miles north and west from here. And I had friends of all different races. I grew up in a low-income immigrant community. And the friends I had, particularly at my lunch table, came from all different races, but we all shared the same socioeconomic background. And we all basically came from single-parent households. And, basically sometimes I guess we were all at some point bad at life. But oh man, it's deep. But thinking back, but in August of my freshman year of high school, I was trying out for the football team, and two of my best friends decided to go with me. And you guys know how, you know, two-a-days are. If you ever played football, it's hot. Nobody wants to be out there. It's hard. And before, we had 2 practices. And after the first practice, my friends told me, you know, Walter, man, let's just get out of here. Let's go, you know, on the block. And at that time, the block was Knox Street. And, you know, the decision I made was just the most important decision I ever made in my life. I decided to stay. And they left. And so make a long story short, 4 years later, at that lunch table I had in 8th grade, 8 of us, only 2 of us graduated high school. I was the only one that went to college. And I'm the only one that graduated from college. Some of my friends joined the Army. Some of them are not here today. Some of them are in jail. But the reason why I am where I am today is due to the fact that I made the right decision. I had all the strikes against me. I was a black male. I was in special education classes, and I came from a low-income, single-parent household. But so what? I made a decision at 14 years old that I refused to live the life that was given to me, and that I would create a new and better life for myself. I will say that again. At 14 years old, I refused to live the life that was given to me, and I chose to create a new and better life for myself. This is your life. You are old enough to make your own decisions. From now on, you cannot blame anyone but yourself if you don't become successful. Know that to get there, to get to where you want to be in life, you have to pay a great price, and it will not be easy. A different result requires doing something different. Make this your motto, and breakthroughs will become possible. If you want to accomplish all your dreams and become successful, these are the 3 things that you must do. The first one, you have to make a decision. Choose this day if you want to put in the work necessary to become successful. At 14 years old, I chose not to be a victim of my circumstances. While my peers were selling drugs, chasing girls, and skipping school, I chose to be the best athlete, student, and leader I could be. But what did I have to sacrifice to get there? The first thing, sleep. I can count on one hand how many parties I went to in high school. You know, I wasn't whipping, I wasn't dating, I wasn't doing those things. I was in my books. I was being the best athlete I could be. I was working. I didn't smoke. I didn't pop mollies and flats. You know, I was rare. I knew it didn't line with my goals or my values, so I made the sacrifice. Most people say they want to be successful, but they kind of want it. They don't want to be successful as much as they want to sleep, as much as they want to party, as much as they want to chase girls. To be successful, you must be willing at any moment to sacrifice what you are for what you will become. I will say that again. To be successful, you must be willing at any moment to sacrifice what you are for what you will become. The second thing I had to do, I had to execute. Special education classes, diagnosed with a learning disability at 5 years old. By the time I was in 8th grade, I tested out of special ed. How many people you know actually test out of special ed? Usually that's a label that sticks with you your whole life. But I refused. I'm like, you know, I do have this, but I'm going to put in the work necessary to get out of these classes. And I did those things. Before my junior season in football, no one knew who I was. And then by the end of the senior year, I was the #1 running back in the state of Illinois during my last year of high school. But what people don't know is that I got up at 5:30 a.m. every morning while playing 3 sports. And I lifted weights and I ran ever since my freshman year. So I put in the work necessary to be the best. Through my high school and college career, I finished with academic honors. Not because I was so smart and that I liked school. It was due to the fact that I knew in order to accomplish my goals, I had to perform in the classroom. I know not a lot of people here like school. I was one of the people who didn't like school, but I made sure I got my homework in. And usually when you get your homework in and you be nice to your teachers, they usually, you know, have some grace on you. So those are the things that I did. In college, you know, you won't see my name in any stat books or, you know, any greatest games ever played. I only started 4 games while in college, and I ended up actually transferring my last year to a different school. But those 4 games, I gave it all that I had, and it enabled me to have a career in the NFL. Talk is admired, but execution is worshipped. It's time to stop talking and be like Nike and just do it. It's time to be rare. Everyone talks a good game, but not many people back it up. I've always been that person who put that grind in and that work in order to be the best that I could be. The last thing you need to have is faith. Life isn't sweet, people. We live in hard times. You are at a tough age, and we live in a violent city. But life is 10% of what happens to you, and 90% how you respond to it. We all have haters, and sometimes they are the people closest to us. I have been told that I wouldn't be successful by teachers, coaches, family, and society. There have been many rough times in my life, many days that I went without, whether it was food, whether it was heat, whether it was electricity. I even had to live with a different family at one point in time because my mother could no longer support me. It got so bad that one night I contemplated taking my own life to escape the pain. I cried myself to sleep plenty of nights, but I didn't cry to give up. I cried to keep going. Those nights, I had to draw on my faith to get me through. You have to have faith, people. Whether it's faith in God, your dreams, or your family, you have to draw from something that is bigger than yourself and your current situation. If you don't get anything else I say today, remember the decisions you make today will affect your future and what you will become in the future. It is not by luck that I stand before you today, having accomplished my dreams of playing in the NFL, getting paid to speak and motivate young people across the country, and leaving my teaching job to pursue my entrepreneurial ventures. I have traveled across the world and met a lot of great and influential people. How did a black kid from Chicago defy the statistics and get to where he is today? I made good decisions. I executed by putting the work in, and I had faith that better days was ahead of me. If you don't take advantage of your opportunities now, time will pass you by. This time you have is precious. You only have a limited window of time to make your dreams a reality. So I say to you today, enjoy today because you deserve it. But tomorrow, it's time to grind. Your future depends on it. Thank you.